Let's go ahead and bring up Brian and Tiffany Wygum. We're here to celebrate them. So one thing we like to do, is show, hey, here's real people and real results, right? So let's go, Brian. Tell us about yourself. And Tiffany?
So how is everybody doing tonight? My name is Brian Wygum. My beautiful wife, Tiffany, is here with me as well. We've been married 18 years, and we have two children, both now teenagers, 17 and 13. We joined Lifestyles in 2016. Friends of ours had joined a couple of years previous, and they're here tonight. Some of you may know them, Kevin and Lori Chalmers. We've been friends with them for several years. And
20.
So how many people in the room showed up to Lifestyles because someone told you need to check it out? Nice. How many new people in the room? First time here showed up because someone told you to come to a case study. All right, welcome. You're in the right place.
So the deal we're going to be presenting tonight is actually our second deal. We've already gone full cycle on our first deal. We bought that coming out of COVID, and we sold that last year, actually, and made a 90% return in 20 months.
Do you see how excited he got?
Phenomenal.
See, I have to get excited for people like this. Well, the accountant got a little more excited because it was below the line, above the line, all that stuff.
I was really excited for Brian, actually.
So before I retired from my W-2, I was in IT for 25 plus years.
Anybody else IT? You're all full of it.
And then my beautiful wife, she's an accountant, and she's
For the largest property management company in the world.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Third-party property management company.
Do you still do that?
I do still
Do you love
that.
it?
Generally, yes.
I
actually do.
That's a politically correct answer.
I actually do. I work a lot. I'm not ready to quit,
Good,
much
yeah.
to his dismay, but yes.
It's an accountant thing.
I do.
Yeah.
They like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Do you have your debit and credit tattoos?
Pain? Yeah, I mean, I don't do taxes. Like that's
corporate
so
stuff,
it's corporate accounting. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
No accounts payable. Don't ask me to post your receipts. I'm not doing that either.
She's above that, guys. Come on.
Separation of duties. I'm not doing that.
She said she wasn't talk up here.
That is the
See, all the accountant nerds want to know from her.
that is the extent of my presentation. Thank you.
All right, next slide, Tiffany. There you go.
I didn't want to show him a full crack maintenance man.
Sorry. All right. So why did y'all join Lifestyles Unlimited?
Well, I wanted to retire. I didn't want to do IT anymore. I was tired of being on call for all these new ransomware attacks and everything else. It eats into your time. I have kids that are in activities, and that would require me to not be able to get them to where they needed to be.
So we were talking about this earlier. Sorry to interrupt, but your kids are in soccer. My daughter's in volleyball. It's freaking crazy. Who has kids activities that they'd love to be more involved in? Right? You want some free time to do that? Tell us how to do that, Brian.
Join Lifestyles. So we were also looking for additional income. The 401k, we all know what happened back in 2008. A lot of us lost
Turned into a
substantial amount.
201k,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you say?
Mine went from $500,000 to 70,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. But then we also wanted to spend more time with our family and our friends. And we didn't really know much, or we didn't really know anything about real estate, but we had interest in it. So
Other than the accounting part.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think they figured out the real estate accounting part of it.
Sorry.
I think Brian didn't know much about real estate. Okay.
I'm done. I actually, so I wasn't going to speak at all.
No, you're awesome.
Okay, so who's here for the first time and doesn't know much about real estate?
Are coming out.
All right, all right.
Next slide.
Here we go. So this is a property. This is y'all's second property, right? Y'all bought this a few years ago?
December of 22.
Okay, excellent.
Actually, we closed December 29th of 2022, and we were able to close just in time to take advantage of 100% bonus
I
depreciation.
knew you were talking about that. Yeah.
And you were gonna, I know you'll elaborate on that later, but yeah, so this is a 32 unit in Balch Springs. It's a 1984. We purchased it for $3.632 million. Cash out of pocket, 1.775. And we had roughly $3 million in initial financing.
Whoa, slow down.
Yeah.
So we just heard a big number of 1.775 million. Most people in the room don't have that. So
Anybody got 1.7 million in the bank? Anybody? Anybody?
but it doesn't matter. It's the fact is, I told you people can invest as how much in the beginning of my speech. Everybody here at the beginning? 25K.
Yeah.
So
they had
did
something
you-
like that.
how many investors did you have in this deal?
I have 34 investors in this deal. My lowest investment, I think, is 10K.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat that, make sure everybody says.
Yeah.
34 investors, lowest investor was 10,000. So give them a hand for letting the little guys in this deal too, not just big people. You understand? Now, I got to ask a couple more questions because there's people watching nationwide.
Yep.
You know, the room might be small, but there's 100 people online. So we have people from Hawaii and all that. Are all your investors right here from Irving, Texas, or any other area?
I actually have some from Hawaii.
From Hawaii? Okay.
I think
Any other states?
Florida.
Florida?
Some of it's running together because we just
I know, you
recently
did the
bought
other
a
one.
property, and so I have a bigger number of investors. So there's several states
So
that
out
were
of state
involved in
investors,
this
yes.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is there's a couple questions I'm going to ask right here because it's very important for new people that are coming this weekend or like, well, how can I get involved? I'm watching online or whatever. You know, I'm from another state. Can I do this? So you have 34 investors. I always ask these same questions. How many of those 34 investors came physically to the property?
There's maybe a couple that actually live here and actually
Maybe four, let's
sent
say,
me-
right?
Yeah, maybe sent me an email, said,
So-
hey, I drove by the property.
Right.
I looked at it, looks really good, and
Right. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up, folks, is think about this, is the idea of being a passive investor. They're doing all the work, okay? They're called lead investors. They do all the work. They put the deal together. They're there every day doing everything. But the passive investors in the deal, they're investing in it. They want a great rate of return. They're going to get reports and stuff from him, but they don't do anything. Who likes the idea of investing and not doing anything? So what we teach here at Lifestyles is live where you want to live, invest where it makes sense. So you can live in a communist state like California. We love you the same way. But we're not going to invest out there because it's not landlord friendly. So people in California or Hawaii, for example, might invest in Texas or Oklahoma or Georgia because we invest all over the place. But does that make sense? Yes. And the same thing with the people in the room that are investors in deals like this. They might invest one in Irving, but they could also invest one in Idaho. You understand? Wherever. So I just want to make sure you understand that. Okay?
yep.
All right. You can take it back over.
So initial rehab budget, $750,000. When we did take over this property, there was a lot of deferred maintenance, and you'll see in the next couple slides what we were dealing with. So we've done an extensive rehab on this. In terms of being able to turn this property around, it took us about 10 months to do that.
Okay.
So before we dive into the numbers, just a little more high-level numbers for the property operations. Monthly income brings in about $44,000 a month, right?
Yep.
Overall income. Expenses are $14,600, so monthly cash flow about $10,500, right? And is that monthly net operating income?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they do it
Yeah.
on the slide, yeah.
Yeah. And then cash on cash turn of 5.2%. And since you've owned it, when did y'all buy this?
So we bought it December 22. We
Y'all-
were not expected to cash flow the first year because when we actually took over this property, previous owner had 90 to 95% of the leases expiring in February, March, and
Excellent.
April. So we knew when we took over this property, we had to do we had to do a lot of things, and one of the things was to strategically move the leases.
Yes.
We were able to do that. We basically did everything up to October, and going into November, December, and January, the slow season, we didn't have any leases expiring. So it made for a very, very good, smooth transition going into the renewals that we were going to get into, which we just started into the beginning of this year.
Excellent. Yeah, that's one thing I learned from Terry,
The
operations consultant. Yeah. If you got lease, I mean, who wants to move in November, December, or January, right? Nobody. So when you renew them, release them, do a 11-month lease or a 13-month lease just to get them out of those months, right? Because you don't want your leasing agents, you want their, unfortunately, may have someone move out in January or November, December, but it's going to be a little harder work recruiting people to get in the door, right? So elevating your operations to plan for things like that a year from now is kind of what we teach at Lifestyles.
Yeah, and that's the power of, we have mentors who will help you buy the deal, go through numbers, all that. Here's the keys now. That's where the operations consultant come in. I'll talk a lot about that on Sunday, and when he's talking about staggering leases, there's a science to everything we do. You're not on your own. You have somebody holding your hand to make sure you do it right. And you can see how he's educated himself in doing it the right way.
Excellent. So based on a 6% cap rate, which David will teach you exactly what a capitalization rate is this weekend, current valuation of $5.9 million. Now, y'all's purchase price, back one slide, was 3.63. So that's all right.
Yep.
Yeah?
See how excited he got again?
So 3.63
Don't worry, we'll have a slide that
million.
puts it all on one slide so it's easy
yeah.
for new people.
5.6.
He's speaking up here at PhD level, and I know the new people don't understand this yet. I'll break it down to simple language. Even an Aggie can understand it. I even give him crayons. I'll make it simple.
Okay, all right. Okay, so some good before and after pictures. Then we'll get a couple slides diving into more detail on the numbers. Still at a high level, but tell us about it.
This is the before and the after. As you can see, there's a satellite dish there. We had probably 10 of those out front. None of them were active.
They're just there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they
they
just
don't come
leave
down,
them there.
they
It's
just
amazing.
stay
Every
there.
property's that way. Yeah.
And you can go to the next. Well, we did the parking lot here. And
But that looks like a world of difference.
Yeah, what are those numbers on the parking spots? Did you do assigned parking?
So we actually instituted reserve parking.
Okay.
Most people wanted to be able to park in front of
Right.
their unit, but we weren't going to be able to do $50 a parking spot. So I did it at $15. Everybody can afford $15 a month.
Yeah.
And it now generates nearly $5,000 a year in reserve parking because I have over 30 of them reserved now.
And David will teach you about valuation of properties, which you'll see in a couple slides this weekend, but also the secrets and benefits of other income, which reserve parking is one of the 31 ways we make money in multifamily.
So
right?
really quick, I know you guys don't understand this. It's Greek right now, but that $5,000 at a 5 cap rate, that's
I can't do stage math.
1,000. I just had a number in my head. 250 grand. Wait, that's. Oh, 50.
Been trying.
But that's $250,000 extra value. Is that pretty cool? Just for putting up some signs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't believe that.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
Here's some more photos of before and after. As you can see, the one on the left there, that's basically what the people were seeing from the road. They were,
nice.
all these patios had junk on them. We put up some barriers to help actually conceal that. And we forced them to actually clean their patios. And then we redid the fence. The middle there, they had a maintenance shed.
Awesome.
And then this
In front of that
pergola
pergola?
here that was not being used. But if you look back from historical, there used to be a pool there at one point, some decade ago or something, and they covered it up. So we put in a new pergola, put in some seating with a barbecue area.
There you go.
And that gets used quite a bit. I have residents that just walk right outside and sit with their families and cook their meals. And
And I love when you put a barbecue pit away from the buildings.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Excellent.
well, I put a fire extinguisher out there too.
There you go. Look at that. Above and beyond. Whew. How about the interiors?
So this,
Oh, that one has a skylight. Look.
So there's a bit of a story on this one. Some of the people that are here actually walked the units with me when we were doing our due diligence, and this by far was the absolute worst. We did not renew their lease, of course.
Even though they had a Merry Christmas sign up and
This
In July,
was,
right?
this was a hoarding unit. You literally could not walk. And when we took over this property, we had 8 units that were severely overoccupied. This one had 8 people in a 2-bedroom.
Wow.
nice.
I had another couple that were 4 people in a 1-bedroom, and then it varied from 6 to 7 to 8 people in the rest of the units.
So I mean, all these obviously were lease violations that the previous owner didn't enforce or focus on, correct? So
Correct.
once again, improved operations, right, increases the income on the property.
Now, I want you to remember this
Cleans up
story
the tenant base.
when we talk on Sunday in my seminar about mom and pops that run a property in the ground. They bought it from them, and they're making a beautiful community now. So I just want you to remember that.
So as we look at what we did in the renovations, we actually took out the cabinets and we extended the countertop. It made for a place that people can put some bar stools and they can sit there. Their kids can do their homework while their families cook.
Looks great. I like the bar area.
You always like the bars.
Yeah, I do. But no, that's one thing you notice. He just highlighted this, right? I'm look on the left here. So see, you can't see it. There we go. So see this thing right here and right there, right? He took it completely out to make it more open and airy and, a better area with that bar space. That's awesome. A lot of the operators are doing that. It's funny. You'll see one lead investor do that in an apartment, then everybody's like, that's a great idea. Let's do that again.
We
right?
all share and open our books to each other.
It's a like-minded community. It's a community of like-minded real estate investors that share the secrets of their success, right?
Steal from others.
Yeah, or just steal from others. Yep.
So this
Ooh,
was
yeah.
actually the upstairs bathroom on this.
Oh,
So
that one has a floater.
yeah, it actually isn't. It actually is just worn out.
There's a rule in real estate pictures. You're supposed to close the toilet lid before you take a picture, man. I'm just saying.
Got to show the bad with the good.
I don't know that we got to
There's
say
20
anything
jokes
more
here where I get in trouble.
transition.
So we'll just move on.
So yeah, beautiful, beautiful rehab. Look at that full tile surround in the tub there. Probably a brand new tub, or is that just resurfaced?
That one's not resurfaced.
Yeah, it
That's
looks
new.
brand new to me. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to go quick. Keep a look at the Cheerios in the bowl. Let's go.
Beautiful. All right, let's. It's almost 8 o'clock, so we're about wrapping up here. So let's focus on the numbers. So high level, when we evaluate multifamily properties, we mainly look at their income, their expenses to get their net operating income, right? And then, of course, take out the mortgages and any CapEx, and then that gives you a cash flow number, right? And then that shows you the money you're putting in your pocket every month, or in this slide, it's every year. So to highlight it, just look at the income increase. Now, we're in the middle of year 2 or we're in the middle of year 3 right now?
We're in the middle of year 2.
We're in the middle of year 2, so year 3 is his projected income based on what he's been doing and the leases he's going to be turning. But also, you see it's his projected expenses, which are increasing a little bit, right? But the beautiful thing about multifamily property versus single family is, as David will teach you this weekend, is how you evaluate the property. You evaluate the property by the net operating income. And I'm not going to start that class right now, but an increase in the net operating income will significantly increase the value of the property and the investor's return. So look how much that net operating income is increased. See, it was a big jump year 1 to year 2. That's where he did the major value rehab, right? That's where he's releasing everybody at higher rents in the first year, right? And then a little bit of increase into year 3, right? That's just giving people the $25, $50 a month bump in their rent, seeing some of that reserve parking and other income stuff that Davidson teach you about hit, right? But, cash flow looks good. 7.5% return and 5% return looks great, especially for the equity capture we're about to see.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say about this slide? Sorry, I think I just stole your
Cover
slide,
it.
man.
That's good.
Ah,
That's exactly what
good
is
question.
happening there. Most people
I was
have
waiting
picked
till
up
when
on
you
that.
said it.
good question. Yes. Did the interest only end in year 2? Go ahead.
So yeah, we have interest only for 2 years, and then the principal kicks in year 3. So that's
the mortgage
increase.
increases. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. So when you buy a multifamily property or get a commercial loan, sometimes David will teach you this weekend. Sometimes you'll get 1, 2, 3, 5 years interest only because that
still
gives you
stabilizes
that gives
things
you a
move around,
chance to do the rehab and stabilize the property before you pay the full mortgage payment. Good question. Okay. So now remember at the top of the slide here in the top right corner, him and 31 of his best friends, 34 of his best friends, probably most of them were Tiffany's friends, right? But they put together 1.7 million, right? And based on the valuation with somewhat conservative cap rate, right? We just take the NOI, the property value. If we paid off the debt, we return investors' capital, right? Is it Mark Twain that said that? Don't talk to me about the return on my money. To talk to me about the return of my money.
Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers? Okay, yeah. So at Lifestyles, we do our calculations of return, after we return your money, and then add in the cash on cash distribution. Year 3 forecasted is about 1.5 million. That's without the cash. If we add in the couple hundred of cash, the bottom line there, the bottom bullet on this slide in the center is in year 3 about a return of 1.77 million. How much did they raise for the deal? 1.77 million, right? So who in here is making 100% on their money in 3 years? Raise your hand if you're a partner in this deal and you're doing that.
Yeah, who's in this deal?
Yeah,
Why
look
are you
around.
all in the back with the pot smokers? You should all be up front.
Right? Seriously, this is why we do Lifestyles, man. Will you cover this slide, please?
You already got it.
So remember, folks, it's simple. I always sit there and say this when I teach a seminar. There's a lot of numbers here moving out. You might not understand it, but when you're brand new, it's what's in it for me. If I put in X amount, what am I going to get back? So like Ryan said, it's 100%. So the people that put in 10K just got back 10K plus their 10K. You understand? If you put in 100K, you just got back 100K plus your original 100K.
And
who'd be okay with that?
we haven't even talked about the tax advantages, which you're going to cover Saturday
Right.
morning. But yeah, most of this money's tax-free when done correctly, y'all.
But what's even better than this over single family is how much work did these passives do? They didn't do anything. He would send them a picture of the poopy toilet and they'd go, ooh, that's horrible. Ooh, that's horrible. Where's my check?
Only 2 of them have visited the property, right?
Yeah.
2, maybe 3.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, all these people here, you're all from this area, right? Raise your hands if you're in the property. I want everybody in the room look at those people. Now, keep your hands up if you visit the property.
There's
Well,
2 of them
of
right
them,
there.
there's your 2
There.
people.
That's the 2.
You see how it is? The rest, like, they're right near it and they don't even visit it.
Okay. So I really think we need to give Brian and Tiffany a hand.
Heck yeah.
On the hell of a return. Excellent. So we talked about increasing the NOI, showed you the numbers. Now tell us what you really did.
So
What'd you do to do that? Okay.
Let him
All right,
talk.
Tiffany. I will be quiet. Sorry.
So we did several things, but we started off with adding rubs. That's an additional expense that we were not going to pay, and so that's basically billing back the water and the utilities that they were excessively using. We decreased that significantly. I think they were 250,000 gallons a month, and we've now down to about 120.
Funny how when you start charging people something for the water they're using, they start using less water, right? Isn't that
See?
interesting?
They think we're all evil as conservatives, but we're green. We put in low flow aerators, low flow shower heads. We want them to have low flow, not in our own damn house.
We
But
want
you get what I'm saying.
to save the planet and conserve
Yeah.
water. Yeah,
At their
definitely.
properties, not mine.
And then we increased the rents. Once we rehabbed each unit, we were able to generate more income by increasing it to market rent. So we went from $1.13 a square foot to $1.50 a square foot, which was pretty substantial. It's probably $300-400 a month per unit.
That's not bad over 2 or 3 years. That's phenomenal, man.
That was one.
Okay, never mind. That was great.
So we did a lot of interior and a lot of exterior rehab, and then we also charged back trash fees, pest fees, and then we started charging pet rent. And then by taking care of all the deferred maintenance, we decreased our operating expenses. And like I said earlier, we implemented reserve parking, and then by giving them a really nice rehabbed unit. It also gives you the best product, and we're giving it at the best price, so they continue to renew. So far, we're, I think, 6 of 8 for the beginning of the year, and we'll go from there.
Real quick, a lot of people don't realize there's one part of the aspect of taking an ugly property, we make it beautiful, but have you had any stories of like a resident coming up and thanking you for the change in the community from the previous owner to you?
So I only have a few left. I've actually turned over. I've turned over about 85% of this
So
property.
we don't call people deadbeats or anything. We call them
Purple Martians?
no. That's not
anymore.
Financially disenfranchised individuals. I mean, you got to use words matter, sir.
Well, you think about it, right? If you're taking rents, if you're increasing them by $300, right? In order to live in the unit, you have to qualify with 2 times or 3 times income. What do y'all do?
2.5 to 3. Depending.
Okay, so say it's 3 times the income. So say the rent was $700, right? 7 times 3 is $2,100. The guy that makes $2,100 a month doesn't drink the same kind of beer that if you moved him up to 1,000.
Yep.
The guy that makes $3,000 a month, right? That guy makes 33% more. That guy, one guy's drinking Schlitz, the other guy's drinking, Michelob Ultra or something, right?
And doing those old
So
fashions.
you are changing the tenant profile of the property throughout the year when you're turning it over this way, and improving your residents and improving the community, and they're going to take care of the place a little more when you deliver them a brand new, nice product, right? I truly believe every American deserves an affordable, quiet, upscale place to live. And they pay me well. And we will do that job for them.
Yep.
Copy?
There you go. There's Brian right there. Missed that.
I need to stop talking again.
Hold on. Let's one more slide and then we take questions.
Yeah, so one of the things this property didn't have, it had no marketing whatsoever, and whatever people knew by the drive-by, this completely changed. Just on the other side of the green patch is the library, the fire station, and the police center, or the police station for the city. I've had more cops come by, just like driving through as they drive, and they've been absolutely blown away by the changes to this property.
Cool.
Yeah, that's another secret I stole from somebody at Lifestyles also, man. Everybody knows something's happening on the property, but they have no idea what the interiors look like because they went to a party in that unit 10 years ago and the place did not look nice, right? So that's in their mind, that's what it looks like. Well, if they're driving by and he's running a geo-fenced, right, Facebook ad within 2 miles of the property, they're getting a little ad of the interior pictures of his rehab. They go, oh, damn, that looks a lot better. I'm going to go check it out, right? That's Facebook marketing. I learned that from someone here. I guess you did too. Maybe we learned from the same guy. I don't know.
I'm in IT, so
Okay.
He's a nerd, sir.
All right. Okay, so one thing we always like to ask people is, before we get to this slide, what advice do you have for people in the room?
I know
For the
it's-
new people in
I
the
know
room.
it's been said 1,000 times, but you can't wait. You're going to look back and you're going to be wishing you would have started even sooner than you did. But once you jump in, just learn everything you can. There's a lot of information in this room. And when you take all that information, it just helps you become a better operator. It helps you increase everybody's net worth.
Cool.
You want to say the quote, Tiffany? All right, Brian, read the slide.
So our experience with LU has been truly transformative. It has not only improved our investment outcomes, but it has also brought us into a community of peers who share our mindset. These relationships that have become invaluable as they continue to foster our professional and personal growth.
It's a lot of words, man.
Yeah, that sounded like Catholic Mass.
I know.
He never talks
So-
that much, so.
That sums up a like-minded community of real estate investors that share in best practices, right?
Yep.
And celebrate each other's successes, like we're doing tonight. So, some goals. What's the plan for the family?
Retire her.
There you go.
And then
She's not sure.
We don't agree on the timing, but that is his goal.
it's in
Tiffany,
the
all we
future.
want is you to be happy. That's all that matters.
I am.
There you go.
Mostly. I would like a little more time off. But
Okay.
Don't want to.
When you have $1 million or $2 million coming in a year,
Yeah.
you can tell your
can
boss
go
whatever you
part-time.
want, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
So we'll look to probably sell this property and get another one. And then we'll see, maybe that's the time, maybe it's
Maybe.
even further down the road. But also I want to teach our kids our business and get them into the real estate. They do know what we do, but there's so much for them to learn as they go
A big
forward.
thing for us all here is legacy. We got to think of the next generation. Yeah.
And then in terms of long term, I love to travel. She loves to travel. We want to do more of it. We have several friends here and going on trips and creating memories. That's all we want to do.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And so, who's on your team?
So Mike Spots helped me with this deal. And then I have a few vendors. John Simpson's here with Swifty. He helped me out.
Where'd the Swifty guy go? He was here. Oh, there he is. He always has nice sneakers on, by the way.
Jeff King with Ramey King Insurance. They've helped us with the insurance on this property. Nate Roberts with Lifetime and Mike Stout with NTN. And then Steven Summers with Pioneer.
And that's the beautiful thing about vendors, right? Lifestyles has a great vendor program that John Shirley runs. Thank you, John. And that gives you the tools in your toolbox, and I guess that's why there's a little tool there, to do this. I mean, how many times do you get a call? Brian, this is Jeff King, right? That's basically how he starts off the call. And you're okay, well, I guess it's time to renew my insurance, right? I'm going to be on the phone for the next hour and a half talking to this guy, right? Hey, Jeff, you in the room, buddy? All right.
That was funny.
But no, we love it. Lifetime Tax Services. Man, I use Nate also over there. They're phenomenal, right? Background checks, National Tenant Network. It gives you the tools you need to succeed, right? And you have access to that vendor list. It's on the table over there, and it's also online. If you're a member of Lifestyles at any level, you can use our vendors, right? That's one of the benefits.
Cool.
I don't know. Talk to
Swifty
that
helps
guy,
marketing,
man.
all that. Raise your hand.
Swifty does websites,
He also does
marketing,
swishies. I don't know what that means, but
that kind of thing. He's back there, Leo. He's raising his hand for you. Here we go.
he's
Go
always
talk to him.
around. Nice guy. He'll hang out afterwards.
So we've asked for the advice.
Get some questions.
Yeah, this is great. Online, do we have any questions or in the room?
Let's try one or two online first, then we'll do
Okay,
it.
I'm going to go with John
question
because he
online.
raised. Okay, John, you raise your hand first, buddy.
Yes, I noticed 3 slides back, you showed a significant green space in front of the property, right there. Do you have any plans to use that, parking?
1 second. So on this slide, there's a significant green space for if online you couldn't hear the question. John is a builder, I guess, and wants to build something there, maybe parking, amenity. Any plans for that, Brian?
So we do not actually own the front.
Their lot
A
lines, the back,
previous
the fence
owner
there.
Had actually sectioned that out and
sold
kept
it?
that. The one thing about this is shortly after purchasing it, I was getting the water transferred over into our name and go into the building, and they got this big billboard up, and they're allowing the residents to start picking locations where they want to have a downtown. This was overwhelmingly the #1 spot in that green space that's next to us. That's in between the police station, and the fire station, they want that to be a downtown all around the back of it. So we do own the acre that's behind those buildings, and that's just open land. So if there's a developer that wants to come in and add another 16, 24 units, they can. It's just another selling point.
Now, see, this is a big thing I want you to understand. When we evaluated deals, we act like that land isn't even there. We know it might be upside on the back end. He ran his numbers conservatively off of what it's doing right now and what he can do with it off of it. But if he can sell that for an extra million or two, I'm sure he'd be okay with it.
Excellent. Online, we had a question before we get to Sharon.
Yeah, two questions. One, how did he find the property? And then also, you talked about an increase for the reserve parking, and the person asked that it sounded like a bump the value by 250,000. Can you go repeat the numbers for the reserve parking, how that increased your value?
Well, somebody in the crowd shouted that out, but it's $5,000 a year, which would be 200, wait,
Okay, so it's 15 bucks a
100,000,
spot
yeah.
times 12. So how much is it a year? Someone do the math, please.
Well, somebody said, if we just do 5,000 a year.
Okay, let's do 5,000.
5,000 a year
It's 5,000
at a 5 cap rate
divided
would
by
be $100,000.
0.05. That's 100K, right? Is that your annual reserve parking income, you think?
It was implemented, so
But
we don't have a full
first
year.
off, I know that sounds like, don't even worry about that, folks, if you're new. It's gobbledygook right now.
Might be
Don't
more
worry
than
about
that.
this. This is high-level math stuff. You'll learn about that this weekend.
And he just said his reserve parking annual number is probably a little higher than that. So
Yeah.
How'd you find the property?
how do you find the property?
So an outside broker,
to
they
you.
had it listed, and I happened to see it, tag it, and toured it, and ran numbers, and did some market comps, and
Made sense.
made sense.
There you go.
It's his job as the lead investor to network with multifamily realtors or brokers, and that's what he did. That's how he found the property.
Anybody else? in the
Sharon,
room?
you had a question in the room.
How far are you from this apartment, and do you do self-managing?
Ah,
And
Great question.
also,
let me repeat it. That's 3.
About the occupancy, I want to
This
know-
is Sharon. She gets it all in 1 minute.
I want to know the occupancy.
So
Okay,
right now,
let me repeat.
go ahead.
So Sharon asked, how far away do you live from the property? Do you self-manage or use a third-party management company? And what is your current occupancy? Good. Take it away, Brian.
24 miles from house to property.
Okay.
It takes about 35 minutes. Occupancy right now, 96.3. These last couple months, I mean, we've been running at 196.
I think the average occupancy in the DFW area right now is around 89 to 90%. Is that right? You're running 96.3?
Yeah.
Give him a hand.
What was the other question?
And
That
yes,
she-
we
yeah.
self-manage.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Self-manage. Yes, they do self-manage. And we have a question from Ted.
I had a question very early in your presentation. You were talking about there were a huge amount of leases that were going to expire over a short period of time. And I'm presuming this is a takeover. So my question is, how did y'all strategize not having just a whole bunch of people flee and dropping
Yep.
but also doing your rehab and making everything beautiful?
Let me repeat and summarize. Okay, so good question from Ted. You mentioned that you had like 75% of the leases expiring in the first 3 months of ownership or something like that?
More than that.
Or more than that. How did y'all compensate for that or plan for it and mitigate it? And also,
Because he's worried about mass exodus.
while the rehab was going on,
Yeah.
right? Yep, okay.
So the big thing when I underwrote this deal, I knew what my rehab dollars were going to be, but also into my operating income expenses, I carried a full year of debt service. So just to be sure that if I had mass exodus, I was able to cover the debt so that I could go ahead and do my rehab and then start getting the leases with the new residents.
So this weekend, I'll teach you about negative carry, how sometimes we have to raise up extra capital for the what ifs. And we'll talk about that. Okay?
Any other questions? Are we good? Oh,
One
what's
last
up,
one.
Bill? Last one, buddy.
85% you've changed over people in 1 year. Is that correct? Can you
Hold on.
touch upon how that went about? Was it gradual? Was it immediate? How'd you go about doing that?
So Bill's question is, I've heard or read that, turnover is about 40 to 50% a year in an apartment community. Yet you said you did 85% in the first year because of the rehabs and that. How did you manage that, and how'd you handle it?
Kind of strategically, I knew that it was going to be a challenge, to say the least.
Yeah.
There were already some that I knew were going to move pretty quick. And what happens is with the leases, they go into month to month. So I allowed some of them to go month to month, but their lease didn't charge them a month-to-month fee. So I allowed them to continue paying what they were currently paying until I was ready to do the next rehab. And that's when I would give them a non-renewal or just up their rent to market. And if they didn't like it, they left, and then it gave me a chance to rehab.
Excellent. So, man, hey, there's multimillionaires all around you. You want to go out and get to know them? They look just like you, right? They're wearing jeans and a button-up shirt, right? So I'll be there. Y'all be there. I know a lot of people in the room will be there. Let's give Brian and Tiffany a big round of applause.